Today's Bears mock draft is sponsored by 8 Sleep. If you're struggling to get quality sleep at night, well, 8 Sleep has the perfect product for you. I'll tell you more about them in a little bit, but if you want to go check them out right now, go to 8sleep.com/chatsports to get $200 off your first order. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into Bears Now. We've got our pre-NFL Combine mock draft, and if you want more draft content, I will be out in Indianapolis for most of the NFL Combine, so be sure to subscribe, follow me on socials, all of that good stuff. This is our 16th mock draft, which is amazing when you really think about it. This is the current Bears draft capital. 6 picks in total. They've got 2 top 10 picks at 1 and 9. Currently no second-round picks. A third-round pick at 75. They got 2 fourth-round picks, 1 via Philly from the Darnell Wright trade down last year. Got 1 fifth-round pick, and then currently no 6th or 7th-round picks. But knowing Ryan Poles, probably be some day 3 wheeling and dealing to get some extra capital there as well. And obviously, I think he's going to want to get into that second round too. So definitely don't think those 6 picks are the only ones he's going to have. But again, we're going to Indy. So join us, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll have tons of NFL Combine coverage. So don't miss out on any of it here on Chicago Bears Now. And again, my socials are going to be a place to follow as well at HGramNFL, as we'll have lots of content over there. Okay. Round 1, pick 1, Caleb Williams. I just think right now that's the heavy lean, so I'm going to stick with that heading into the Combine. We'll have a post-Combine mock draft that could certainly change things depending on what chatter comes out of Indianapolis, but I do think going into the Combine, this is the most likely scenario. So don't have to harp on his skill set too much here. We know what he brings to the table. We've talked about him ad nauseum here. The red flags people have, I think, are blown out of proportion. Obviously, the Bears will have to evaluate that for themselves, and they'll be doing that this next week in Indy. Okay, so before the Bears pick at number 9, this is how the top 8 picks went. So Caleb, number 1. Washington got Drake May 2. The Patriots went Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3. Malik Neighbors to Arizona at 4. Rome Odunze at 5. Quarterback Nate Wiggins went to the Giants at 6. Brock Bowers out of Georgia went to Tennessee at 7. Cooper DeJean went 8 to Atlanta. So top 3 quarterbacks, top 3 receivers, Brock Bowers, all off the board. And that is a scenario that could come into play when the Bears pick at number 9. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. Like, these are your best available at positions that you need. You got 3 offensive tackles there, Joel Olufashanu, Talies Fuaga, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, couple of edges. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. is a good player, but I don't think at 9 he's a guy I would take, at least not at this point in the process. So these are the 5 guys that are in range here. So based on how this mock has gone, you're Ryan Poles. What are you doing here at number 9? Are you trading down, or are you keeping this pick and drafting a player? Type T for trade or K for keep, and let me know. Well, luckily, the Denver Broncos are quarterback thirsty, so we make a trade here. Denver trades up from 12 to 9. They get J.J. McCarthy. And then the Bears get 12 back, 76, and then a 4th via Miami from that Bradley Chubb trade from last year. And believe it or not, Joe Alt is still there. Now, I think this is probably unlikely for him to fall to 12, but Olu went 10, and then I can't remember who went 11, but I think Turner went 11. But even if you flip Alt and Olu, I do think there's a real scenario where the second tackle falls to 11 or 12 here. So we'll see who that is. I think Alt is most likely to be the first tackle off the board. But, there will be teams that have Olu graded higher because he's a better athlete. They feel like the ceiling's better there. I'm a big Joe Alt guy, man. Like, the grades from PFF, I like that. He graded out well in zone schemes at Notre Dame this past year as well. Gave up just the 1 sack. He was flawless this year. I mean, the guy very rarely made mistakes. When he does get beat, he recovers pretty well, too. That's something I like about him. He can recover within a rep against good edge rushers, so that's a positive as well. Dane Brugler said this after the college football season, and I agree with him, that his tape this year is some of the best tape he's seen from offensive tackle in 5 years. Now, it's 1 year of awesome tape and then 2 pretty good years, but you know who that sounds like? Kind of sounds like Darnell Wright, who the Bears took last year at right tackle. He was awesome last year. The couple years before that, he was good, but not great. The Bears have an interesting situation at left tackle. Braxton Jones is a starter in this league. I think out of the 32 teams, he would probably start for at least 10 of them. So you've got a starting left tackle there. But if you think Joe Alt is generational, and if you think pairing him with Darnell Wright for the next half decade, however long it is worthwhile with two guys with Pro Bowl, All-Pro potential, it'd be hard to argue with that, especially in the scenario where Neighbors and Adunze are gone. Bowers is gone. You think it's too early for edge. Like, I couldn't argue with this decision if they go there, especially if they trade down to do it and get extra capital in the process. So, again, I'm not looking to punt on Braxton Jones, but if the receivers are gone, you could upgrade at left tackle, and that would not be a bad outcome because you need to continue to improve this offensive line. All right, we're going to trade again here because we don't have a second-round pick, and I want one. So if we're going to take Caleb Williams, that means we're trading Justin Fields to Atlanta, second and a fourth for Fields, 43, and then a fourth-round pick. I don't know why I put 2025. I'm pretty sure it's a pick in this year's draft, 24. Might have been a typo on my part. So I get the 43rd pick. Darius Robinson, the edge out of Mizzou. Now, he's been sneaking into the late first round in some mock drafts recently because he had an awesome Senior Bowl. I wonder if that flattens out a bit. Now, if he has a strong combine as well, he could secure himself as a first-round pick. But he was like a third, fourth-round guy heading into the Senior Bowl. Just was unbelievable, unblockable there. So now people have him going late first, early second. I get him early second here, which maybe he doesn't get to 43. We'll have to wait and see. But I didn't think it was super egregious, so went ahead and did it. Good production, not incredible production at Mizzou, but good. The traits are there, 6'5", 290. I think he's going to be one of these RAS guys where he measures out really well and tests pretty well. So keep an eye on that. We know that is meaningful for Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. I'm excited to see what he does at the Combine because if he tests well, he's going to go pretty high. All right, Kamren Kinchens, who he's been sliding a little bit for whatever reason, the safety out of Miami. Obviously, the Bears cut Eddie Jackson, and God bless Elijah Hicks, but I don't think he can start for you next year. So you're going to have to replace Bojack at free safety. Hicks can be that third safety. That's fine. But I think a guy like Kinchens in the second or third round makes a lot of sense. He replaces Bojack, and he also was college teammates with Tyreek Stevenson in 2022. So they've played together. Tyreek could, offer some insight to the draft decision makers just about who he is as a player. He's obviously not going to make the pick or anything like that. But I like Kinchens. I think he's worthy of a second-round pick. So it's a little surprising he's fallen to the third in some mocks. But he was sitting there, and I definitely pounced on that opportunity. All right, let's trade again. Didn't love the options here where I'm picking next. So I trade down with Indianapolis. 7 spots, go from 75 to 82, and get 150 and 193 as well. So move down handful of spots, get a 5th, get a 6th, and we'll make that selection here coming up in just a moment. But hey, today's show is sponsored by 8 Sleep. Guys, start sleeping better. 8 Sleep's going to help you do that with their high-tech solution to your age-old sleeping issues. You know what that high-tech solution is? It's the Pod 3 cover from 8 Sleep. It slips right over your mattress, bringing heating and cooling technology that keeps you comfortable and sleeping deeper and better for a more restful sleep. I got my pod cover a few months ago, and I've never slept better. Sleep science shows that in order to sleep our best, our body temperature needs to drop in the early and middle part of sleep and then rise back up in the morning. The pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperatures based on your individual needs. The cover can be added to any bed, just like a fitted sheet, and allows you and your partner to cool or warm your side of the bed, which is a huge bonus if you have a partner that you sleep with at home. It can go up to 110 degrees, down to 55 degrees, so a big range there. Not only does the pod cover keep you comfortable temperature-wise all night long, it also tracks your sleep and health metrics. On average, users see their sleep quality improve by 32% after just 1 month on the pod. So start the new year right. Really, we're almost into the month of March. It's not too late, though. 8sleep.com/chatsports. That's going to get you $200 off that /chatsports, so go check it out today. Free shipping as well, 8sleep.com/chatsports for $200 off. Going back to the well after trading down, and by the way, I meant to put in that trade the 76th pick. We have 75 and 76 now after that prior trade. Sedrick Van Pran, the center out of Georgia. he's kind of fluctuating. He could go third. He could go fourth. Some think he could fall to the fifth. I think mid-late third here is fine for him. Graded out well per PFF. Not the best athlete, but good enough. Good enough strength. I think he is a decent scheme fit here. Now, he might need to sit a year, so I think he could be in the category of you sign like a 1-year vet, 2-year vet, like a Brian Allen just got released by the Rams. He could be an interesting one. He's been injured the last couple of years, but you could go get him. So it's an interesting proposition. I don't know if he's a guy you start from day one, but I do think he has starting potential and would be a guy in the third or fourth round I'd be interested in. All right, Javon Baker, the kid out of UCF. I mean, even his photos just have swag to him. 110th pick here. This guy, I think, is going to turn heads at the combine. 22 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards, and I don't think he's just a speed demon either. Like, I think his routes are actually better than you would think. I think he's a player to watch in Indy. Like, he's going to be a guy that can move up a lot depending on how he tests. I think he's going to run well. I think he's going to impress in some of the other drills as well, the athletic trait drills. And I would not be shocked at all if coming out of the combine, people like Dane Brugler and Daniel Jeremiah are like, yeah, this guy's a top 75 player. So keep an eye on him. The production was awesome this year for Central Florida. I like the traits. He's 6'2", 205, 210. He's got good size. So, this mock hasn't played out in the sense of I'm getting receivers early, but a guy like this in the fourth round who I think can give you snaps as a rookie is certainly very valuable. Marshawn Lloyd, the running back out of USC, obviously a teammate of Caleb Williams as well, as we have back-to-back picks here. Productive player for Southern Cal this year. Probably the best offensive player Caleb played with this year after losing Jordan Addison from a year ago. And again, just looking at this running back room, if they don't decide to go upgrade at RB1 in free agency with like a Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry or someone like that, I do think they're going to need to add someone in the draft. And someone in the fourth round, I think, is the sweet spot. Marshawn Lloyd, Bucky Irving, the kid out of Notre Dame, Estime is an option as well. I like how Lloyd averaged over 7 yards per carry. He runs well. I think he's a good fit in his own scheme too. So fourth round, I think the value's there. Ben Sinnott, one of the more versatile players in this NFL draft. Kansas State tight end, fullback, hybrid. I like the versatility with Sinnott here. You can line him up at tight end. You can split him out because he catches the football well. You see the production there with almost 50 catches, 6 touchdowns, almost 700 yards. He's a good blocker both at the tight end position and at fullback. And interesting little nugget, Shane Waldron in Seattle, they did not employ a fullback on the 53-man roster. I like Kari Blasingame, but if you think a guy like Ben Sinnott or another tight end in this draft or free agency can kind of help fill those fullback snaps, I think that's a better usage of your 53-man roster because you're not putting Kari Blasingame at tight end or splitting. Remember a few times they split him out and you're just like, they don't even have to guard him. Like Sinnott, you at least have to respect because he can run routes, he catches the ball well. So I like this. I think he's an intriguing player in this draft. He's like 248.5, 250 pounds. Can play tight end, H-back, fullback. You can move him around. I think a tight end 2 or 3 plus fullback designation for him as a rookie, I think is a good role. What's the bigger need for this football team? You think it's running back or tight end? Obviously, Cole Kmet between those two positions is the best player you have, but you have nothing behind him at tight end. And then at running back, I like Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson, but you don't have a player of Kmet's caliber. So you could argue either way. Running back or tight end, which would you say is the bigger positional need? Going to double down at receiver here in the fourth round. Malik Washington out of Virginia. Listen, this kid, who some of you guys should know out of Northwestern, transfers to Virginia this year, puts it all together. He was unbelievable. I mean, the production is insane. He was at the Shrine Bowl, by far the best player at the Shrine Bowl. I mean, was just torching dudes with his route running and speed. Get on the train. Listen, he's small, 5'8". He's going to be a $170, $175, but he plays bigger than that. He was top 35 in the nation in contested catches, which is pretty crazy for a player that size. I think he can give you some return ability as well. Did some kick returning in college. So I'm a fan. I think this could help replace Darnell Mooney if you decide to move on there. So get on the train, man. I think he's a guy who can produce in the NFL. few more players here. Zach Zinter, the guard out of Michigan. I'll be curious to see where he goes. If he wasn't battling that broken bone in his leg, I think he'd probably go a little higher, but that's probably going to be a red flag for some teams. But if he recovers, and it sounds like he's on track to do so, he gives you depth and maybe even competition as a rookie. Now, I wouldn't expect him to start right away. I think Tevin Jenkins and Nate Davis, if healthy, are your starting guards, but we don't know if either of those guys are here beyond this year. Tevin's in a contract year. The Bears can get out of Nate Davis's deal after this year if they want to. So Zinter could be a guy who maybe he's a swing guard this year, then he starts in 2025. Certainly a possibility. Dwight McGlothern, cornerback out of Arkansas, played 2 years at LSU, played 2 years at Arkansas. Like the ball production, 8 picks over the last 3 seasons for McGlothern. I expect Jalen Johnson to be back, but corner is one of those positions you should almost draft one every year. Like, I think this is probably the best position group on the Bears with Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, and Terrell Smith. Even Jalen Jones is a good player for special teams, so is Josh Blackwell, but I'm still drafting a corner at some point in this draft if I'm the Bears. And a guy like McGlothern with good ball skills on day 3, I think makes some sense. And then Zion Logue, the defensive tackle out of Georgia, wraps things up. He was kind of a rotation player there, never met his full potential. But listen, talking about a Georgia defensive player, you know he's going to be well coached. So throw a dart here in the round 6. Maybe you get a rotation piece, possibly a practice squad stash as well. So there you have it. Turned 6 picks into 12. Had some fun here on this mock draft. Grade it for us. A, B, C, D, or F. How do you feel we did on today's Bears mock draft? And again, we'll have more draft coverage throughout the week in Indianapolis as the NFL Combine is taking place. We have a 6-man squad out in Indy, so it should be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. YouTube.com/BearsNow. It's at HGramNFL on Twitter and Instagram. For more content on those platforms, follow Chat Sports. We got you covered all week long in Indianapolis. Bear down.